this is Lazzat with Lazzat Photography, and in our next Vendor Spotlight video interview, allow me to introduce you to Miss Shannon with Fiore. Hi, so tell us a little bit about your business. How did it all start?
I have been in the flower business now for 30 plus years.
Wow.
I started as a teenager and opened my first business, just my friends and I, when I was 19, and it's progressed from there. I definitely have owned my own business, worked for other people, and now at this point in my life have taken all of that kind of knowledge and made it into Fiore.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you like about working in the wedding industry? How did it turn to be a wedding flower shop?
Well, organically, really. Creating something out of flowers for someone is a very intimate, personal process. And so just being a floral designer and starting out, I didn't start out doing weddings. I worked with people that did weddings, but really I think the basis of what I do is learning about the design techniques and learning and sitting down in a meeting with someone and learning about them and what design technique is going to work for them and what style is going to work for them. So it's a little bit of what I call getting inside your head, and I learn a little bit about you, and then I take what I know and I try and make something unique just for your wedding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for a bride who has never planned a wedding before, and she knows she wants wedding flowers, what kind of experience should she expect to receive here? How does it all look like? How many consultations,
We don't really have limits on anything because we feel like, over the years I've learned that flexibility is the best thing to have in the wedding industry because everyone is unique. Everyone has their own unique circumstances. So we don't put a lot of limits on that. Some people want to talk to us twice and just say, go. And then some people want to talk to us a lot more and need a lot more detail and a lot more just support. And so we customize each person. So I meet with every bride, and I'm pretty good at reading people and figuring out what they need from us. And that way we can give them whatever they might need.
Do your wedding flowers have, do you offer wedding collections?
We do. Well, we do. Well, it's custom, really, because everyone wants to feel really unique, and so we do certain looks. When you come in, and so Pinterest is obviously set the tone. So you can come in, and if you love air ferns, you're going to have a Pinterest board full of air ferns, or if you love peonies, your Pinterest board is going to be full of peonies. And so we kind of guide you through availability, through design, through style, through your venue. We take all of these little variables to create something for you. So it's not so much of a set plan, it's more of a custom design.
Do you take on smaller jobs, like creating just a bridal bouquet?
Absolutely. I had an email this morning, for instance, that came in. Her wedding is this Sunday. I called her immediately. I said, you know what, let's not go back and forth in the emails. Your wedding is this Sunday. And took about 15 minutes on the phone and gave her, flower language is another language, so I don't expect everyone to know what I'm saying when I spit out ranunculus and lisianthus and all the names of gladiolas. And so, then sometimes they look at me and I'm like, you don't have to understand this, but I'm going to show you the pictures and show you the visuals, and then I'm going to tell you the names of the flowers that we're using. So if you really want to go back and look, you'll know what we're doing. But a lot of it is trust. And so people trust us that we know our business and let us do our thing.
Have you ever had instances when a bride orders some kind of flowers that are not in the season, or you can always substitute?
Yeah, well, we typically can't get it if it's not in season. There are certain things that are now, and I think a lot of it has to do with Pinterest. The growers now are really being pushed to grow things more year round, and so I do explain in my meetings to brides how the farmers work and how our product gets here and how all the variables in that, and so that they understand a little bit more, like we're working really, really hard to get them exactly what they want. but there are color variations and there's seasonal variations, and so all of those things, I think, just from experience and it's really starting out in the flower business, knowing your product is knowing what you're able to offer. And so the seasonal, Pinterest doesn't put seasons on, so that's one of the first things I say when they bring in their Pinterest board. I'm like, it's great for inspiration, it's great for me to get inside your head and see what you like, and then I'm going to tell you what we can get that's going to emulate that same look.
You mentioned farmers. I assume you guys get flowers from the farmers. How far the farmers are based?
Farmers are worldwide.
Worldwide.
I'll be honest, there's not a lot of farming that goes on locally. There are some, there are the zinnias and the sunflowers, but we don't have the climate to grow. We have this subtropical, can possibly be a hard winter climate, so you can't really grow a lot. So most of our stuff in California is a big farming industry, so a lot of our product comes from California, and it just depends on the season. If the tulips are coming out of Indiana or peonies are coming out of, up north. So it's really, again, it's just learning your product and where it's coming from and how you're gonna get it.
Absolutely. What are the popular trends and flowers right now in 2018 in the wedding industry? And the color options. Are there any specific colors that are popular?
Well, the classic white and green never goes away. I would say we are a little bit more trendsetters, so I don't follow a lot of the trends. I do if people want us to, but for our style personally, we get a little bit more modern, industrial. We like to mix styles a little bit, juxtapose, but I will tell you, the air ferns have been a big thing over the past couple of years. Succulents have been huge.
Yes.
And those things that probably will never go out of style, they definitely have made a comeback, but being in the flower business for as long as I have, I've seen rotation of what comes in and what goes out, and it all comes back. It just comes back differently.
What are the unique centerpiece arrangements? Have you the unique requests for centerpiece arrangements have you ever received?
Oh my gosh, well, we do hundreds of weddings a year, so we get lots of unique requests.
The most unique one that stands out in your mind, something that's memorable you've never done before.
Okay, well, I will tell you, we did a really, really beautiful wedding over in New Orleans, so we do travel. And the bride's request was a white peacock made of solid flowers that stood 12 feet tall, and it was the focal piece of the room.
Oh my.
And it took us, we built it from scratch. Every single piece, we built the columns that it stood on. We built it here in the store beforehand to make sure it worked, and then we took it all apart and we took it to New Orleans, and her tail was massive. It was probably 10 feet wide once said and done, and it was a base of artificials, but then it was a whole layer of real on top of it, and I would say that was probably a pretty standout piece for us.
I can only imagine where did you get that idea from?
She's very creative, very beautiful, and she dreamed it up and we made it happen.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was a collaboration of great minds, I will say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're very lucky with our clientele that they come to us because we know we are a little different, and so that's a lot of our clientele is also in that same mindset, so we work well together.
And they bring all their creative ideas to you to make it happen.
Or they usually have an idea, and then we take the idea and then we run with it.
Well, I remember when I reached out to you about the style shoot, and I said I wanted something burgundy and gold, and you took it to the next level of bringing the circle arch and decorating it with beautiful flowers that I've never even seen before. It was absolutely stunning. I loved it. I loved that arch so much so that blew it up into a huge wall.
Yes.
So it was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, we try. I mean, when we like to collaborate, like we are with you, and when people put in the effort and care, so do we.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. When a bride is planning her wedding and she needs the flowers, what is one piece of advice would you give her when it comes to...
Not to get set on one flower.
Okay.
Don't get your heart set on peonies unless you want to get married in May or June. That is a harsh reality because, I mean, really, people do turn to Pinterest, and we encourage that. But what I have to just reiterate is there's no season put on that. And the internet doesn't always have the right answers as far as when things are available, because you can kind of put anything out there, but really the best advice is to come to a florist that has the knowledge and has the contacts, and we're working with brokers and growers and farmers around the world, and there can be things that can affect a hard winter or a hot summer, the flowers that we maybe could normally get. So don't get your heart set on one flower, get your heart set on a look, and then knowing that we can make that look with other things. But I would say that's my biggest is don't get married in September and ask for peonies.
Yeah. What's your favorite flower?
Gardenia. I grew up in Southern California, and my grandmother's yard had a gardenia plant and night blooming jasmine. And so the days were filled with gardenia scent, and the nights were filled with night blooming jasmine. And being in Southern California, you were outside in the cool, crisp air all the time, and that scent brings me back there every single time.
Maybe that's why you became a florist.
Well, I lived in Southern California, so it was real easy. There was abundant flowers, and I worked there. I just started working there in high school. I worked at a flower shop. I worked at a few of them, and worked my way up until, when I was, for 2 years, I worked my way up, and I really wanted to learn how to design, and I think that my age at the time was a factor, and so I wasn't really given the opportunity to become a designer. And the designers were much older, had been there for years, and so I just went out on my own and just risked it. And I don't know who hired me, but they did. and it just kind of evolved. And then at one point, there was a designer that was well noted and super creative, and he had a studio downtown. And I begged him for years to hire me, and he didn't. And finally, he did. So I took my little base of clients and merged them with his studio, and that's really where I learned so much about design and so much about being innovative and taking, what the stems can do and what the leaves can do. And it's not just an A, B, C, and D of flower arranging. It's really, I've always tried to create something, and then I step back and say, how can I make it better? How can I make it different? Like, what can I do to make this one step beyond? So it's just it's just taking a step back and looking at something and saying, how can it be better?
Well, it definitely takes talent and passion.
Yes.
To work in the flower design industry.
And a strong back.
And strong
Yeah, and countless hours. Because it's all perishable, so we can't start in advance. We can only start on the same day we start on every day.
Practice a lot.
If we have 9 events, if we have 12 events, if we have 15 events, we still have to start them on the same day. So the staff here is incredible. I've had the same employees. The rotation that I have is usually the lovely ladies that I hire that are Navy wives that we know that are going to leave us, but they're so great that we just can't help it. We know they're going to leave us. But the rest of us have really built this from the ground up. So it's pretty fantastic.
How many staff members do you have right now?
On staff, I have 8, but we get up to 15, 20.
In the busy season.
In the busy season, we bring on extra people, and again, the same people that have been helping us for years are always happy to come back and play with us.
Yeah. Where does the name Fiore come from?
So it's Italian for flower.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother-in-law was generous enough to help me out to get it started, and she is half Italian. My husband is a quarter Italian, and And it was just a fun name. It meant flower. So that
I
was,
do like it.
Yeah, that's where it came from. And it doesn't, people ask me all the time if that's my last name. I'm like, no, I'm Irish. Shannon Murphy. So we've got the Irish and Italian blood in this shop. Yeah.
How much does should a bride anticipate to spend if she needs, let's say, centerpieces for 10 tables, bouquet, bridal bouquet, boutonnieres?
I would say on average we're at about $2,500, $3,000. I did the email today. It was $500. So there, again, we customize everything. But people ask me all the time, well, what does a wedding cost? I'm like, well, do you have one bridesmaid or do you have 12?
Yeah.
Do you have 3, 4 sets of parents or do you have 2? So all of those things are the variables that constitute the cost of a wedding, and whether you're having 100 people or 500 people. So there's not really a straightforward answer on that. It is really based on the needs that you have.
Any fun fact about your store?
Oh gosh. We have fun here.
There you go.
We have a lot of fun at work. I will sit in consultations a lot of the days, and we have glass doors, and these girls are laughing all day long, which makes me happy inside because they literally are expressing themselves in flowers. They have full range to make stuff that I'm not over their shoulder all the time, like change this or do that. Now I am if I know that it is specific and maybe I didn't write that down. There's communication sometimes that I'm not great at because I'm doing 10 things at once and I write down, oh, this is for this special client of ours, and I forget to write like, oh, she doesn't like pink. So those kinds of things. But really what's fun here is that we have fun. Absolutely. We also work really hard.
I think everybody in the wedding industry works very hard.
It's such a different beast.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
I always tell my brides that being a wedding photographer, it's so physically strenuous. It's very hard to be working for 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours nonstop photographing that next day. We all have an industry, popular term, wedding hangover. We all go through that after the wedding day or a busy weekend.
So we have a retail shop, so we don't stop, we just keep going. And I tell people too, being in the flower industry is very, very interesting because we deal with emotions. Yeah. And whether it's a wedding or a funeral or a baby being born or a birthday, or most of our phone calls on a daily basis are for a reason. So we deal with a lot of emotions and learning how to just make that into a floral arrangement and whatever the situation may be, but really kind of reading into someone's emotions and what they want to say in flowers.
So Shannon, how does your clientele find you?
Well, first of all, we're located in beautiful downtown in this historic building. Can't miss it. Nice big sign outside that says Fiore, 15 West Main Street, just west of Palafox, and we have a huge parking lot in the back, 27 parking spaces, which is a rarity downtown. It's like gold. And then obviously our phone number, 850-469-1930. And our website is we have a new website. It's fabulous, lots of traffic, and that's how you find us.
Thank you so much, Shannon, for sharing your story about your store and how did it all start. And I really appreciate taking time from your busy schedule and sharing this time with us.
I thank you. I thank you for caring and for investing and making the effort. And we're here all the time. So
anytime.
Thank you.